there are high chances that we might have missed something very important from Volume 5. And of course, I'm not talking about the choking scene, I'm talking about the kisses that followed later. Before we proceed, a quick disclaimer. I'm not a native Japanese speaker and I haven't found or read the original Japanese text myself. So this video is heavily based on several high-quality fan translations as well as the official Chinese and Thai versions. And my goal isn't to defend or justify the action in this scene. Instead, I want to show you that there is a possibility the scene was written to be something more, something deeper and more complex than what we see in the English version. First things first, the Japanese language mostly omits the subject. Hence, the readers have to know the context to get what's happening, like relying on a shared understanding and situational cues rather than explicit words. For example, if you are looking at a cat, I won't need to say the cat is cute. I can just say kawaii and you would get who I'm talking about. Now keeping that in mind, let's look at the official translation and the fan translations. The epilogue starts with Maomao sitting outside in the cold. She decided to leave the party because it was too noisy and stressful inside. Jinshi soon finds her and sits down on the wooden bench beside her. He also escaped the banquet and was now talking to her about the events of the day. After a while, they bicker playfully like usual. Then the conversation turns to Jinshi's look. He has a small scar on his face, but he tells Maomao that he almost wishes his face was actually burned so people would stop bothering him. On their way here, he enjoyed being ugly with makeup on because women didn't swarm him as much. Maomao, being an apothecary, offers to give him a real burn if he wants one, thinking she could use him as a test subject for her burn medications. But sadly for her, he quickly declines. After that, they talk about the long trip home. Jinshi suggests that Maomao practice riding a horse instead of sitting in the carriage, but she just wants a comfortable bed that she didn't get last time, as Jinshi would often steal her sleeping space to take naps. The scene starts taking a turn when Jinshi mentions that the emperor told him to make a good choice regarding a bride. Maomao thinks about who it would be and the political drama that would be involved, but she tells herself that it doesn't matter to her because she is just a simple apothecary. Suddenly, Jinshi reached out and grabbed her hand, intertwining their fingers so she can't leave him again. Even here, they were bickering. Then Maomao went to think about how he looks at her and how she feels less emotions than normal people. Plus, this scene is probably going to be something like this one.
Care to find out?
Because she describes him here the same way, like a wild animal hunting its prey. She was highly aware of their intertwined hands, and her thoughts went straight to the feeling of love. In Japanese, they use the word koi, which specifically means romantic/passionate love. This definitely meant that despite her acting aloof, she knew exactly what kind of romantic tension was happening between them. When Jinshi touched the silver hair stick in her hair, the mood was almost sweet. He was playing with her hair and had rested his chin on her head like they were a real couple. But Maomao, afraid of these new feelings and the trouble they bring, tried to push him away emotionally. So she told him to marry someone else. His romantic feelings turned into desperation. He held her throat and arm, not to hurt her permanently, but to stop her from saying those things and to get his point across. Maybe it's going to be a little similar to how he had written her.
No one's gonna bite me to death!
In English translation, it's written as him being angry, which was a little out of his character, since a few lines ago, Maomao said that he was not the type of person who would hurt women or children. In the other translation, people have pointed out that he was annoyed or even desperate, but not angry. Also in English, this whole part sounded so bad. A lot of the fans translated it as Maomao frowning in pain, or showing a painful expression, rather than a strong word like agony. As for this part where Jinshi looked down at her, he didn't do it as an insult or something, rather he looked down at her silly expression, with her mouth half open like a fish. Then their first kiss happened. Just like me, I'm pretty sure when you first read it, it looked like something was missing, with those dots and the sentence being left unspoken. But back then, I didn't pay it any mind. Now that I think about it though, it does make some sense, especially with the mistranslation that comes afterward. In the official translation, Maomao greedily sucked in the air she was suddenly allowed. In the other translation, it goes like Maomao greedily sucked in the breath she was given, hinting at him sharing his breath with her, almost like he's giving her air through a kiss, something like a CPR. And then there is a fact that they have completely skipped the word breath again from the other sentence. Here she says, somehow she always thought a celestial nymph would smell like peaches. But it's supposed to be, somehow she always thought the breath of a celestial nymph would smell like peaches. And the Japanese word stoiki is mostly described as a breath that is felt closely during an intimate moment. Another point that could confirm this is the next sentence. In English, it says, her lips felt dry and hot, while it could also be, his thin lips felt dry and hot. Like Mama could be describing this sensation like she described the hands. And in a way, this makes it much more reasonable as to why he looked down at her with that victorious expression. It can't be just because she could breathe again, but rather it could be as if he sees that his breath had reached every corner of her body. Then Mama gets angry/irritated and said that he told him to use poison if he wanted to kill her. But he doesn't want to kill her. In fact, I don't even think he wants to hurt her. He just wants her to listen to him and stop avoiding his and her feelings. While she's thinking of ways to do exactly that, he traced her lips and brought up percussion. In the official translation, it sounded like he was angry or at least slightly upset. Fan translations from other languages also agreed on it, except maybe Chinese, where she said that it had a silly/playful tune. But it could be because the web novel culture in China makes this kind of dominating question sounds like a cute or playful jealousy. Anyways, Jinshi tried to pick up where they left off, and this time no one was there to disturb them. Once again, Mama was restrained and pushed down on the bench, her hair getting crushed during that. None of the fans said that his hands were in her hair or that he was pressing her hair. This is where the second kiss comes in. The novel says something more than breath came past her lips. This is what the other translation said. She could feel something other than his breath enter her mouth from his lips. Mama looks into his dark eyes and sees a feral hunger. She realizes that even though Jinshi has everything, he is desperately searching for something more. If this is their second kiss, Mama's reaction to it is that she can't give him what he wants and that he should choose someone else because she doesn't have the same desire and it's gonna cause a lot of trouble that she really wants to avoid. But this time he wasn't letting her go, so she just stayed there, staring at him blankly like a dog. This wasn't good either because it made him anxious, so he leaned his weight on her, making her feel like she was being crushed. But instead of panicking, her mind goes to her professional trainings. She remembers what Byron had said about the customers, saying that you can't let them take the lead. Then she basically taught Maomao how to take control, using the secret expert technique that Maomao was forced to learn as a girl until it became a natural instinct. This is where the third kiss happens, but the mistranslation part here is that she didn't slip closer to him. In fact, it was either her tongue or her lips. So it goes like, Mama gulped down the saliva, parted her lips as if to invite him, then by instinct slid her tongue into his mouth. This is why most people call it a whole makeout session with a little consent from both of them. I don't think I have to add this, but when his body responded with a gentle spasm, it was clearly because he was overwhelmed by pleasure/shock. After all, Mama, the girl he thought was a doll, suddenly kissed him like a pro. To me, it was pretty surprising. In some weird way, it makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't. Plus, the author mainly focuses on the mystery genre rather than romance. So in most volumes, Jinmao scenes are rare and don't go into much detail. With that in mind, there's always a chance that we might be looking into things a little too much. And none of this actually happened the way we think. But I'm honestly okay with both versions, because to me, perfect or flawless characters are not very interesting. However, again, it doesn't justify or change what he did. But considering the historical background and his upbringing, it's simply a character flaw, which by modern standards seems like a big deal. But let me tell you, he did overcome these flaws later in the volumes. Another point that I would like to add is that the storyline does have some dark themes. Because the author have a writing style like that, you will understand it better when you read the web novels and be surprised with how her brain works. So if you are willing to read her work, you should be able to stand some dark fantasy. Lastly, I'm sorry for bringing it up so randomly. I was just rereading Volume 5 and thought I should share this. But since the official English version remained unchanged, we'll have to wait for the manga to adopt this scene to actually confirm if it was in fact the dominating game that the English version failed to deliver. And I'm not sure if you understand me or not, so I'm adding the links in the description. You can check them out yourself. And if I've missed anything else, do let me know in the comments. I guess that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.